My name's Jack, and if you've ever been in a relationship where something just started feeling off, then you'll want to hear this. See, when most guys hear their wife say, "I need some space," they freak out. But if you ever find yourself in that spot, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't beg. Don't argue. You've got to play it smart. So let's rewind a bit. 15 years, that's how long Lauren and I had been together. We weren't perfect. Nobody is. But I always believed we had a strong foundation. We'd been through it all, the good, the bad, the fights, the laughter. No matter what, I thought we were a team. At least, that's what I told myself. But then, something changed. Our conversations started getting shorter. She stayed up later than usual, glued to her phone, the screen lighting up her face in the dark. When I'd casually ask what she was up to, she'd shrug it off. Just scrolling, just texting a friend. At first, I brushed it aside. Everybody deserves a little privacy, right? But the more I paid attention, the more I noticed. She started laughing at messages she wouldn't share. Her phone was always face down on the table, and whenever I got close, she'd angle the screen away. Then came the nights when she'd get a text, pick up her phone, and leave the room before answering. That's when the uneasy feeling started creeping in. If you've been with someone long enough, you can tell when something's off. I tried to convince myself I was imagining things, making a big deal out of nothing. But deep down, I knew better. Then came that night. I still remember the way she looked at me. We had just finished dinner. She put her fork down, took a deep breath, and met my eyes with a serious expression. "Jack, I need some space to figure things out." The words hit instantly, but my body didn't react. No flinch, no shock, just a slow, sinking feeling in my chest. But I didn't let her see it. I just leaned back in my chair and nodded, keeping my face neutral. "Space, huh?" I repeated, my voice calm, maybe even a little amused. I didn't get angry, didn't look hurt, just acted like I was casually curious. Here's something I've learned. The person who stays composed holds all the power. She hesitated, like she hadn't expected me to take it so lightly. That's when I knew this wasn't about needing time to think or some personal soul-searching. No, there was something else going on. My gut told me that much. And when your gut speaks, you listen. So, I asked her, what exactly did she mean? Did she need time alone at home? Was she planning to leave for a while? Was she feeling overwhelmed? But all I got were vague, empty responses. I just need to figure things out. Figure what out? I watched her closely, the way she wouldn't meet my eyes, the way her fingers fidgeted on the table. And right then, I made a decision. I wasn't going to waste my breath asking 100 questions she had no intention of answering. No, I was going to find out the truth for myself. People say you should trust your partner. I say trust your instincts. And mine were screaming at me. So in the days that followed, I started digging. The truth isn't always buried deep. It's often sitting right in front of you, waiting for someone to notice. So I started paying attention. First, I checked her phone records. Nothing too invasive, just a simple look to see if any numbers showed up more than usual. And sure enough, one kept appearing, over and over. That was my first red flag. Then, I scrolled through her social media, not just looking at what she posted, but the little things, who was liking her photos, who was commenting, and more importantly, who she had suddenly reconnected with. That's when I saw it. A name I hadn't thought about in years. Her old boyfriend. The guy she dated before me. The one she used to bring up like some unfinished love story from her teenage years. And just like that, he was back in the picture. At first, I didn't overreact. I told myself it could be nothing, just old friends catching up. But then I saw the messages. Long, drawn-out conversations, the little emojis, the thinking about old times texts. The kind of messages a married woman has no business sending. I could have woken her up right then and there, shoved the proof in her face, demanded answers. But I didn't. I kept quiet. Because here's the thing, when someone tells you they need space, they've already taken it. The decision was made long before they said it out loud. Now they just want you to go along with it, so they don't have to carry the guilt alone. And I knew exactly what she expected. She thought I'd chase her. That I'd call, text, beg for answers, maybe even show up with flowers, asking what I could do to fix things. But I wasn't about to play that game. So I did the opposite. I gave her all the space she wanted. If she didn't talk to me, I didn't talk to her. And when she did, I kept my responses short, respectful, but distant. No bitterness, no passive-aggressive remarks. Just calm, controlled indifference. And since I wasn't wasting my time running after her, I put my energy into something that actually mattered to me. First stop? The gym. I threw myself into the weights harder than I had in years. Not for her. Not to impress anyone. But because it felt damn good to do something that actually benefited me. Next, I upgraded my wardrobe. Got rid of the old, worn-out clothes she never even noticed. Picked up some sharp, well-fitted outfits. Fresh haircut. Clean shave. Every morning, I looked in the mirror and saw a man who wasn't waiting around to be picked. But the best part? I got my social life back. I started going out with friends again, guys I hadn't seen in months, even years, because I had spent so much time wrapped up in my marriage. This time, I stopped making excuses. When Friday night rolled around, I wasn't sitting at home, wondering where she was. I was out, actually enjoying myself. Now, Lauren had her little support system, her friends, the ones she vented to, the ones telling her she deserved to be happy. But those same women? They noticed the shift in me real quick. I wasn't the miserable, heartbroken husband they expected. I was relaxed, confident, unbothered. I cracked jokes, smiled more, kept things light and engaging. And they noticed. At first, it was subtle, a quick glance, a lingering smile. Then came the casual comments. Wow, Jack, you're looking good these days. And just like that, the dynamic started shifting. Then, things took a turn. What started as harmless compliments slowly shifted into curiosity. And let me tell you, she noticed. She saw the way her friends leaned in when I spoke, how they laughed a little too long at my jokes, how conversations with me seemed to stretch out just a bit more than before. At first, Lauren basked in her so-called freedom. She convinced herself she had made the right choice, that she needed space to breathe, to explore, to figure things out. But it didn't take long for that excitement to sour into something else. She hadn't expected this. She assumed I'd be sulking, stuck in limbo, waiting for the day she decided to come back. She thought I'd be desperate to prove my worth, to remind her why she chose me in the first place. But instead, I flipped the script. I moved forward, kept living my life. And that got under her skin. At first, her jealousy was subtle. Quick glances, fleeting expressions, little moments she tried to hide. But I saw it. The way she tensed up when her friends giggled around me, touching my arm as they laughed at something I said. The way her best friend suddenly became extra nice to me, slipping compliments into conversations at every opportunity. I wasn't putting on a show. I was just being me. But a better version. And Lauren noticed. That's when it hit her. She was losing me. The distance she thought she wanted? It was turning against her. She couldn't help herself. One evening, while I was casually sitting in the living room, she walked in and, as if nothing had happened, asked, "So, how was your day?" Just like that. Simple. Casual. Like we hadn't been living as strangers for weeks. But I wasn't about to give her what she was looking for. It was good. That's all I said. No details. No excitement. Just a neutral, measured response. My tone? Polite, but detached. Friendly, but distant. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't cold. But I made damn sure she felt the shift. I saw it on her face. She had expected more. Maybe a spark of hope, a flash of eagerness, something to show that I was still waiting for her. But that's not how things worked anymore. I wasn't playing on her terms now. That moment? That was the beginning of her realization. A few days later, she tried again. This time, she put in effort. The small talk turned into real conversations, asking about my plans, commenting on how I looked, dropping little hints that she was noticing the changes in me. Then came the big one. The date night suggestion. We should go out sometime. Just us. Maybe dinner. I knew exactly what she was doing. She wanted to slip back into my life like nothing had happened. She expected me to jump at the chance, to be relieved that she was finally coming back. But I wasn't about to make it easy. I played it cool. Gave her a nod. Maybe. Let me check my schedule. That answer killed her. She had been waiting for an immediate yes, for me to grab onto the olive branch she was finally offering. Instead, she had to sit with uncertainty, the same uncertainty she had thrown my way when she asked for space. And then, The dressing up started. She began wearing the outfits she knew I liked, fixing her hair a little more, spritzing on perfume just to sit around the house. Small things, but obvious ones. She wasn't doing it for herself. She was doing it for me. And still, I didn't bite. I stayed composed, unshaken, in control. And it was only a matter of time before she cracked. And when she did, I made sure to remember every detail. And then, one night, she finally said it. The words I knew were coming, the ones I refused to pull out of her. She sat down, locked eyes with me, and spoke in a voice much softer than before. Uncertain, almost hesitant. I think I made a mistake. There it was. I don't need space. I need us. I leaned back, watching her, letting her words linger in the air for a moment. Then, I gave her the response that had been sitting on my tongue for months. I gave you space because that's what you asked for. But now, I don't know if I want to go back to how things were. And just like that, her face changed. That was the moment she realized the power had shifted. I could see the regret in her eyes, the weight of her choices settling in. She finally understood that she had played herself. But at that point, it didn't matter anymore. I'm done, I told her, my voice steady. You wanted space. And I realized I deserved someone who never needed it in the first place. And just like that, it was over. I watched as she sat there, stunned, struggling to grasp how the man she thought would always be there had slipped right through her fingers. And as for that high school sweetheart, a joke, a distraction. He was never serious about her, just an old flame playing games, using her to relive a past that didn't exist anymore. And once he got his little nostalgia trip, he was gone, back to his own life. The separation took months to finalize, but before it was all said and done, she broke down and admitted it. I regret it. I regret all of it. But by then, it didn't matter. I had already moved forward. I was already in a better place, with someone who actually saw my worth from the start. And her? She was left alone. So, what do you guys think? Was I wrong for handling it this way? Should I have taken her back after everything? Or was I right to walk away? I know some people will say, man, you should have fought for your marriage. But let me ask you this, fought for what? For a woman who tossed me aside the second she thought she had a better option? A woman who only realized my value once she saw other women appreciating me? That's not love. That's possession. She didn't want me. She just didn't want to lose me to someone else. And that's a big difference. I'll tell you something I learned the hard way. When a woman says she needs space, she's already made her decision. She just doesn't have the nerve to tell you the whole truth. She's not looking for time to think. She's looking for time to explore her options without feeling guilty. And the moment you start begging, pleading, or trying to convince her to stay, you only prove her right. Because now, in her mind, you've confirmed it, you're desperate, and she can do better. So listen up, fellas. If a woman ever hits you with that, I need space, talk, do not chase her. Don't cry. Don't beg. Don't flood her phone with, I love you messages. That's exactly what she expects you to do. And the moment you do it, you make her decision easier. Instead, give her exactly what she's asking for, but on your terms. Pull back. Work on yourself. Hit the gym. Upgrade your wardrobe. Go out with friends. And make sure she sees you thriving without her. Let her feel the absence of the man she thought she could replace so easily. And here's the crazy part. Once she sees other women noticing you, once she realizes you're not sitting around waiting for her, that's when doubt creeps in. That's when jealousy starts to eat at her. And suddenly, she's the one chasing you. But here's the difference. This time, you decide if she's even worth taking back. At the end of the day, this is about self-respect. Don't let anyone treat you like a backup plan. Know your worth. And if someone needs to lose you just to realize what they had, let them lose you for good. So tell me, what would you have done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you know someone who needs to hear this, send them this video. And if you've been through something similar, let me know how you handled it. Until next time, stay sharp.